Hey y'all, welcome to this edition of Cooking with Kimberly. I am super excited about this recipe today because this is one of my favorite, like to call them cheat meals. This is so versatile. I am going to be making a cauliflower crust. Now, I'm going to tell you, you can order these and they will arrive in the mail just like this, and they will be shrink wrapped, and you can get the full-size crust. You can also get flatbreads. The link will be in the description, so it's easy to order, but some people don't want to order them and they want to make them on their own. They are maybe a tiny bit pricey, but once you watch me make them, you can make the decision on whether it's worth ordering them and just having them delivered, I will say, or if you want to make them and have them just fix them on hand. I will say sometimes it's nice to have them in the freezer, but you can make them and these freeze really well, and I'm going to walk you through that. All right, so the first thing that I've done is I've taken a bag of rice cauliflower. You can take fresh cauliflower and you can put it in your food processor and pulse it and just get it chopped up really fine, and then you can cook it. I don't really like to smell it because I think it smells like a behind, so I prefer to buy it. We don't say the B word at my house, so behind, well, when the kids were little, so behind is as close as I can get. We had to call it a tootie when they were little. But so I have steamed my cauliflower, and I'm just gonna cut that open. It doesn't smell the greatest like this, but it is a lot worse. Makes my house smell terrible when it's fresh and I've cooked it down. But you could do it whatever makes you happy. I am going to pour this in here, because right now what I'm trying to do is to get a lot of the liquid out. That is key. So I have worked on this to try to figure out how to get the liquid out, because it is a little, this is the only part that's labor intensive of this recipe. So I bought these two, I don't even know where I got them, like probably Walmart, but they are like a drainer maybe. And so, but I got two of the exact same thing. So I put my cooked cauliflower in here, and then I put the other one on top, and literally I'm just gonna squeeze it to try to drain that liquid out, okay? When you can no longer get liquid out of here, you are going to take your cauliflower and take just a dish towel. I like to use one that's not very thick, and I am literally going to dump my cauliflower in here, and then I'm just gonna put it together in a ball, and then I'm gonna wring some more liquid out, okay? So I'm gonna gather my towel up like that, and then I'm just gonna keep wringing liquid out. I'm trying to get this down into, the recipe calls for a cauliflower meal, but when it's cooked, you've got to do a lot of work to be able to get that liquid out. Your texture for your cooked crust will be so much better when you can get all of this liquid out, and you just have to keep working at it, twist it around. You can use cheesecloth, however, I have squeezed so hard that I've torn the cheesecloth. So I like to use a thin dish towel and get that done. Look at all of that liquid that I drained out of there. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm gonna open my cloth, and you're gonna be able to see just how dry that cauliflower is. And I'm just gonna dump that in my bowl. It really comes out of there pretty well. I have enough cauliflower in here for 2 crusts. So I am going to add 2 eggs. I'll just split it up after I get it all mixed in. I had divided it out in case I made them separately. And then I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese, and it is 1/2 of a cup of mozzarella cheese. And I'm just gonna mix this in really well. And that's literally all that goes in a cauliflower crust. Now, if I'm going to make a flatbread, this is all I would do. And I would just make the flatbreads, I would make my circles smaller than if I'm making a crust. I like to use these crusts for pizza. I use them for wraps. And then if I make a flatbread, I'll use them in place of bread for hamburger, if I've done barbecue, or if you do a sloppy joe, but just something instead of having the bread. So now some people say they really don't like cauliflower. Guess what? I was one of those people. So don't frown on this until you've tasted it, because you have no idea what it can be transformed into. All right, since I have enough mixed up to do 2 crusts, I'm gonna show you how I would make flatbreads. And so I'm literally just gonna spoon some out. I have taken parchment paper and I just have torn off a sheet of that. I'm gonna put this just in a round mound, okay? And I'll get it smoothed out in a minute. And I'm gonna do 2 more scoops so that I can do 3 flatbreads. I'm going to go ahead, I have another pan. This is important. These ventilated pans are super important when you're cooking a cauliflower crust, because it allows them not to be so soggy. I have tried to make them, which you can, without using the parchment paper, but it's a pain because it sticks to this pan. Even if you spray the pan with a non-stick cooking spray, it's still, the cheese from the crust sticks to this pan and it's awful to get clean. So I've just learned if I will make it on the parchment paper, at least to get it started, I can show you in the cooking process how you can get rid of the parchment paper to be able to dry it out a little bit, or you can use an air fryer. But if you've just got a regular oven to use, I'll show you what to do. So now I'm gonna put the remainder of my mixture onto this pan to make my crust. There is a trick to getting the mixture spread out. And what I like to do is I can tear off another piece of parchment paper, or they have these great little parchment paper pop-up sheets. And so I'm just gonna use this just so I can let you see if you haven't seen those. But I can put that on top, and then I'm just gonna spread it out. And I'm gonna spread it out very similar to if you were doing a craft where you melt the crayons, and you know, between the wax paper, and you would spread them out. That's all I'm doing with this, okay? So I'm just trying to smooth that over. You can do it with your hands. You can also, if you prefer, and you want to get a rolling pin out or a can, but your hands will work perfectly. Okay, so I'm gonna spread that to the edge of my, I can feel what my pan, my ventilated pan underneath. So I can feel that. I'm gonna spread that out. It makes a really good circle. All right, so I'm gonna spread that, make a good circle. I'm gonna peel that up. That works like a charm. I'm gonna do the same thing for my flatbreads. One thing that I could have done, you can add seasoning to these. This would just be a plain cauliflower crust, and some people like it like that. You can make it an Italian seasoning crust and add in some garlic powder and some basil. I could have done that for an Italian seasoning. Some people like for them to be a little bit spicier, especially if you're gonna do like a Mexican pizza, or you're gonna do a wrap and you want it to have the Mexican ingredients in it, or some type of sandwich that you want some spice. You can add in some red pepper flakes, you can add in jalapenos, and you would just chop that up. Drain those jalapenos really well, because you do not want any extra liquid. And you would mix that, you would just incorporate that before you spread this out over your pan. So this is ready to go in the oven, and I'm going to cook it, and then we'll take it out and take a look. Okay, I'm so excited to show you the finished product, because here is our cauliflower crust. That's our pizza crust that you also can use to make a wrap. Depending on your oven is going to determine your cooking time. The recipe calls for about 30 minutes. I did not cook this for 30 minutes. I cooked it on 350 for 20 minutes. I don't want it to get too brown, but at the same time, you can see on the bottom it's brown. You're just gonna have to pay attention to it and look at it to check to see how long you need. But as soon as it starts to brown, you know that it's just right. Here are our flatbreads, and I just want you to see, these aren't gonna break. I can hold it like that. They're easy to handle. These would be delicious to use in place of bread, but you can make a sandwich with these. You can use just one flat bread, or you can build a sandwich and have two on there. Let's talk through your larger one that you can use for a crust. So I can take that and I can go ahead and build out a pizza, or I could let this cool completely and I could leave it on my parchment paper and I could put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer and pull it out later. If I wanted to go ahead and make a pizza, I would just put my sauce on here, my toppings, and put my cheese on and put it back in the oven because it's already hot, and then I just get my toppings. If I wanted to make a wrap, this is such a versatile wrap, and I use this if I'm in a hurry, when the world wasn't shut down and we could be on the go. A very quick thing, if I had the crust already made, then I could just heat it up and I could literally fry 2 eggs, put it in the center, and I like to put spinach and mozzarella cheese. You can put a little bit of turkey bacon, and you can wrap that together, wrap it in Reynolds wrap, cut it in half, but you're out the door and you have an easy sandwich on the go. We also like to put chicken literally just down the center like you would with a burrito, but put your chicken down the center. We put some, I use sugar-free barbecue sauce on it. Again, I prefer spinach over lettuce because the lettuce will wilt and I just don't like what that tastes like, and the spinach just holds its texture a little bit better. You could also use arugula. Put any type of cheese, pickles, whatever you want, and then you're just gonna fold it over to make your wrap, okay? So these are versatile, they're super easy to make, they're really quick if you'll use the frozen riced cauliflower. So I hope you give these a try and let me know what you think. See you soon.